Hello again, everyone. Chris Mathieu with Forbidden Knowledge News. Join me in just a couple of weeks for the most amazing event of 2020, the Laughlin UFO Mega Conference. It's going to be 7 days and 8 nights of extraordinary speakers, presenting information that you won't hear anywhere else. Today, I'm very happy to welcome UFO and alien contact researcher and founder of the UFO Academy, Harry Challenger. Welcome, Harry. How are you doing today?
Hello, nice to see you. I'm fine, I'm good. I'm a co-founder of the UFO Academy. It was historic back in about 2009. Someone else called Katrina O'Neill is the person who runs it now. So just to clarify.
Very good. Well, thank you so much for that, and thank you for joining us today. Looking forward to meeting you at this upcoming UFO conference, and you have a very fascinating presentation regarding how intelligent life would choose to make contact with us here. First, tell us a little bit about yourself and what got you started with this research.
Okay, back in 1996, I'd been doing some, I would say, meditation and trance work, but I won't be specific about it, that developed me psychically, something that's not really understood generally. That led to my first encounters myself in the 96, and I quickly joined a group in London, which were called UFO, and I progressed. They were investigative UFO group. They were investigating contact cases, and that's where I started out. I then was involved with a small London-based magazine called Down to Earth, which was a small circulation magazine, which again was full of contact research and UFOs. Following that, I went into working with a magazine that was established from 1955 called Flying Saucer Review, which was the original magazine alongside the Flying Saucer Bureau's magazine, which was also in circulation then, which then joined ours. So from there, I was involved with the UFO Academy in about 2009, 2010. And since then, I've basically been a UFO journalist, would be the right way to describe it, but as from a point of view of contact and alien intelligence-based research. So that's where I'm at now, after 26 years, I think, or 25 years.
Very good. Now, tell us a little bit about what you're going to be presenting at the conference. I find it a fascinating topic because I wonder the same thing myself. How would these intelligent life forms choose to contact us, and have they already tried? Are we just not understanding the communication? Tell us your thoughts about that.
Well, it's called Journey to the Heart of a British Contact, so it's very much a British case. It's a difficult case in that we're seeing a lot of material coming out, so there's a lot of visuals, a lot of UFO pictures, etc. People tend to react when they see things like that, too good to be true, etc., which is fine. For me, it's the looking at how this, if it was an intelligence, which I believe it was, revealing itself, how we then interpret where this contact was going. So we don't have that many cases where there's strong visuals that we can look at in vast numbers to see what the emphasis is. So for me, when when a non-human intelligence is trying to reach us, we've got to remember where it's coming from. It may be an intelligence that travels vast distances. It may be an intelligence that is a creator-type intelligence that has vast knowledge of human origins and human civilization. And then when it's revealing itself, it is like pulling the curtain back in Wizard of Oz. So it is very Wizard of Oz in that you'll see things which don't make sense. So we get the traditional UFOs, we get the traditional beings and entities, but we also get strangeness, high strangeness events, which again are caught on visual images. So we need then to lay them out. And I use the description of code breaking in Bletchley Park, which was a famous great achievement of the Second World War, where you take detail and you build sort of models of what you think is going on. So in Bletchley Park's case, this was code breaking, but for alien intelligence trying to communicate with us, we're trying to lay out the evidence and see where their emphasis is. What are they trying to get across to us? What are they trying to give us? What tools are they giving us to understand them? So that's where I'm at. So it's a very visual talk, and it's about asking the right questions, trying to get to the heart of the British contact. that's the case. And of course, I invite people to be skeptical. I invite people to, you know, there's people who are skeptical about these sorts of things, and I have no problem with that. So we're there to be challenged.
Now, when did this case occur again?
This was a long-term case going from about 2010. The core of the work that I'm showing is about 2010 to 2013 or 2014. So we're looking at probably 4 years worth of material. As I say, it's when you, I mean, I'm aware, I'm a UFO historian. I do know what happens when material comes out. There's often a hostile reaction. So my view is the emphasis is in developing contact, in understanding the symbolic language of contact, the kinds of things that people experience, and cross-matching perhaps other contact cases which are similar. So I often take, for example, UFO pictures from other contacts and compare them to what's in this contact, you know, that sort of thing. Also what's new, what's been not seen before, which is important. And really to recognize how challenging it is to talk to an intelligence that's possibly a pan-galactic civilization and possibly has been involved in our history and our development, and how it would reveal itself. So, you know, I for example, the friendship case, which is notorious in Italy, various cases like even Adamski, things like that, I look at what are common findings. How do we structure this? How do we understand so we can then get much further into it? Rather than being passive, we need to get much further in so we can get close to understand their intention. That's what I believe. So we're talking directly to the intelligence. Even though we're studying them, they're studying us, studying them. So this is a new thing for human beings. We're so used to being the one that studies. We are being studied as we try and interpret. That's what I feel. So there we go. That's mine. So the whole purpose is to show you the visuals, to show you the thinking, and then give us all of us a boost. Because when we see good visuals, we really get close to what the styling is, what their civilization, what we call cultural diffusion. What we're seeing is their world, and they're allowing us a peek. That's what I want to show. You know, in my opinion, other people may have other opinions, but that's fine.
Based on the cases you've studied and all the people with different contact experiences, do you think that most of the beings that are trying to make contact are benevolent?
I think they are amoral, and I come with that view is that they will take actions which we would see as clearly against human rights. So the classic example is the abduction type experiences, but also the fear type experiences people encounter, where there's no effort to reassure. So there are cases where reassurance is carried out, but the level of manipulation, etc., to me makes me think that these are amoral, that our moral codes don't actually stretch to understand what higher intelligence do when they encounter people like us. So I think it's to do with our lack of a model of how a higher intelligence would react to a human. So, but I do think that they're amoral. I don't think they're good or bad. I think they work outside our current view of morality. So I have come up with something which I've written about, which is really important to ufology. It's called meta-law. And meta-law is a historic system of thought which relates to laws that are happening outside the Earth. So when rocketry began in the late 50s and it was clear we were going to go out into space, a number of writers wrote about, or very few, but they were very significant, wrote about the way that we could adapt law to be with other civilizations. And I think that's where I think the thrust of it should go, that we need to examine these behaviors. And I certainly have seen casualties of this, you know, in my own hometown, casualties of barbaric alien practices. And to deny they exist is to basically use, what's the word, putting a head in our sand, really. We need to have a knowledge that they do. Of course, there's lots of benevolent experiences as well, but I think the actual moral framework we have doesn't work. So that's really, you know, I will talk about meta-law briefly, probably in this talk, because I think it's so relevant, that as soon as an alien reveals itself to a human, it's revealed the other world to them. They are never the same. You've then altered their life. You know, that's the key. Even just encountering has altered that person's life for good. They can't go back. So that's where I see it, that you know, every single intervention by an entity will lead to a change in that person's life. And that's where I want to go with it. So that is important, I think, is what are their intentions, and that's certainly what will be on the minds of our authorities, is what are their intentions? Are they collaborative? Are they exploiting us? What is their long-term goal? This is what we call the center of gravity, which in diplomatic circles or in military circles say, what is the center of gravity? Where are they targeting? What are they looking at? What kind of people are they looking at? And that's really the talk, bringing it all home. That's what I want to do, and start maybe a much more solid ground for future debate, maybe better contact in evidence as well. Something new. I'm a UFO historian. Ufology requires something new. It requires something new regularly to inject life into it. So hopefully you come to this particular talk, you'll have life injected into your views of ufology. That's what I'm going to say.
And as a final thought before you leave, there are some very interesting things happening behind, I guess, what you could call disclosure, things that I haven't seen before from the mainstream media, the military-industrial complex, a level of admittance that I don't think we've seen before. Do you think that within our lifetime, that there will be a full disclosure, that it'll just be common knowledge that, yes, these beings exist, and possibly we may even have open contact, as alluded to from our ancient past? What do you think about that?
That's a very good question. I think my personal view, as opposed to anyone else's view, is that the entities themselves are stopping disclosure, not our authorities. I know it sounds outrageous, but I'm I'm convinced that it's the entities themselves. I think the tools we have are the key deficit that we have. So we need to be able to put frameworks into people's minds that will give them a stable mind post-contact. And again, I've written about this, which is called post-contact day one. You go through what we need. And the concept of international collaboration is almost impossible. It can't happen. The nations of this world cannot collaborate on something so important. So what I came up with, which was it's a term that the Navy used, if I can see it, it's a coalition of the willing, which is a lovely term. It's a military term. And it was used during the pirates in Somalia when they were attacking international shipping. And without a treaty and without any agreements formally, our military collaborated, all enemies collaborated, so China, Russia, America collaborated. So this concept would be that we will have to work outside treaties, we will have to work outside the law if there was going to be an alien contact that became an open one. We don't have the ability to agree internationally. We can't do it. So it's going to have to be on-the-spot decisions made in the field. That's my view. I don't think we've got the political will or the military will to share anything. And my belief is the coalition of the willing has worked only in the last 10 years in the Gulf of Aden, and literally Navy officers were Skyping each other and using FaceTime to talk to each other to collaborate. So surely we can do that again if there was this encounter where we'd all collaborate without a treaty. That's where we're stuck. But I think we need the tools. We need people to be able to have an idea. What will we need as a civilization to cope with this? And that means that we need to have concepts and ideas. I mean, the classic example, I think, if a plane had landed in medieval Europe in 14th century, and a plane full of technology had appeared, what would it have done to our civilization? What would have happened if people had been able to tease that technology out? It would have thrown us hugely away from where we were destined to be. And I think that's the key to it. When something arrives that's literally alien to our civilization, we are hugely at risk of imploding. So that means economically, ethically, factions forming new radical ideas that might destroy us. And I think that would be where we build a stable, receptive culture, post-contact culture. It's going to come from our fiction, I believe. We need to get it in our books. We need to get it in our television. We need to get ideas that will serve us when this actually happens. That's where I stand on it. It may already be a process. I think pretty certain that there's already a lot of tools there from our science fiction, but we need more. So that's
Very
where
well
I stand
said.
on it.
Very well said. Thank you so much. And thank you for joining us today. I look very forward to meeting you at February at the conference. And I know you'll have a fascinating presentation.
I'll be looking forward to seeing everybody there because it's my first time meeting American ufologists in the field, so it'll be great to see. And I've met them through crop circles in the past, but I've never met them. So it'll be exciting for me. Thanks very much.
The only purpose of this event is to disclose some of the truths of our mysterious existence. There's never going to be an insane cost to get a selfie or autograph from one of these amazing presenters. This is also going to be the lowest cost conference of 2020. You got to go to Laughlin UFO Mega Conference.com right now to get your discount package prices. Are you going to be at this extraordinary event?